Is XRP on the verge of the biggest breakout we've seen in years? Or are we all staring at the perfect setup being built around our backs? In the past week alone, Ripple's CTO teases an institutional game changer. Swift drops a comment that lights up the XRP Army. The CEO whispers about an XRP ETF. Whales quietly scoop up 120 million coins. Upbit throws $400 million into XRP in a single surge. And the chart? 256 days of stubborn sideways silence. You see the headlines. You see the screenshots. You see the price stuck in neutral while the noise machine rages around it. And analysts, bold ones, are now whispering $10, $12, $15 as realistic targets. So which is it? Is this the calm before a rocket? Or the market being carefully choreographed so big players can buy the house while everyone else yawns? Is the silence a failure or the signal? Here's the truth. Whatever comes next won't be a slow, polite climb. It will be sharp, it will be sudden, and it will leave the undecided wondering how they missed it. Ripple CTO drops bombshell on institutional gamechanger. Ripple's chief technology officer just lit up the XRP community with one statement, and it wasn't just hype. In a recent interview, he hinted that Ripple is working on an institutional game changer that could redefine how big money moves through the XRP ledger. He didn't throw around vague buzzwords. He was careful, deliberate, the kind of careful that tells you there's more under the surface than he can say. The few details he did share pointed to a solution designed specifically for high-value institutional transactions. We're talking about the kind of payment rails where millions, even billions, move in a single click. Why does this matter? Because for years, Ripple's focus has been crystal clear. Replace outdated banking systems with faster, cheaper, borderless technology. If this so-called game changer delivers what insiders think it might, it won't just boost adoption. It could set off the kind of volume that makes current XRP price charts look prehistoric. And here's the kicker. Ripple's history shows they never roll out this kind of product without having major partners already lined up. If those deals are already in the pipeline, the market won't see it coming until the first press release drops. And by then, the big move could already be underway. XRP Army rejoices as Swift makes bullish statement about Ripple. For years, Swift has been painted as the rival, the old guard fighting to keep Ripple and XRP on the sidelines. But this week, something unexpected happened. Swift made a public statement that sounded bullish. Not dismissive, not defensive, bullish. In a recent panel discussion, a Swift executive acknowledged Ripple as a serious player in the cross-border payments arena and hinted at the potential for interoperability between their systems. That single word, interoperability, is enough to make the XRP Army's ears perk up. Why? Because interoperability isn't competition, it's cooperation. It's an admission that the world's largest interbank network might be looking for ways to plug into Ripple's speed and efficiency, rather than trying to beat it. If that sounds far-fetched, remember, legacy systems don't pivot overnight. First they resist. Then they negotiate. And when the tide turns, they integrate. This statement from Swift could be the first public breadcrumb of that pivot. For XRP holders, it's more than just a compliment. It's a possible sign that Ripple's technology is inching closer to becoming part of the global financial plumbing. And if that happens, the liquidity flowing through XRP, it will flood. Ripple CEO drops bombshell on XRP ETF approval and when trading will start. If there's one thing that can send a crypto asset into overdrive, it's three little letters, ETF. And this week, Ripple CEO didn't just acknowledge the idea. He dropped a timeline hint that sent speculation into overdrive. Speaking at a financial conference, he revealed that discussions around an XRP-based exchange-traded fund are further along than most people think. That's not the kind of statement you make casually, especially when the SEC's shadow still looms large over the industry. An ETF approval isn't just a shiny headline. It's a pipeline for billions in institutional money to flow into XRP without the friction of direct crypto ownership. It's retirement funds, hedge funds, and asset managers getting exposure to XRP at the click of a mouse. The CEO's tone was confident, almost measured, like someone who knows the dominoes are already lined up and just waiting for the first push. He didn't give an exact date, but his wording suggested that the conversation has moved past if and firmly into when. If that's true, the approval announcement won't just move the price. It could rewrite XRP's position in the market entirely. And the first big spike? It might happen before most retail investors even have time to react. Calm before the rocket. XRP's 256-day standoff, poised for $10 to $15 breakout amid $400 million upbit surge. 256 days. That's how long XRP has been locked in a sideways range, so tight it's starting to look like a coiled spring. And just when most traders were ready to write it off as dead money, the market gave us a sign. That sign came from South Korea's largest crypto exchange, Upbit. In a single burst of activity, over $400 million worth of XRP traded hands. Not in a week, not in a day, but in a matter of hours. And it wasn't retail noise. The order flow had the fingerprints of deep-pocketed players positioning ahead of something. Why does the 256-day consolidation matter? Because in technical analysis, long periods of compression rarely end in a whisper. They end in violent, decisive moves. Analysts who've tracked similar setups in other assets are now floating targets of $10 to $15. Numbers that sound ambitious until you realize how little liquidity it would take to punch through resistance once momentum flips. Right now, that momentum hasn't flipped. On the surface, XRP still looks like it's just drifting. But beneath the surface, the $400 million upbit surge suggests someone out there isn't waiting for the headlines. They're buying now, while the rest of the market sleeps. Analyst says XRP holders definitely deserve to make money in a space filled with quick flips and meme coin manias. Long-term XRP holders have built a reputation for one thing: patience. And according to one well-known market analyst, that patience is overdue for a reward. During a recent live stream, he didn't mince words. XRP holders definitely deserve to make money. But it wasn't just sentiment. He backed it up with data. He pointed to Ripple's steady expansion into banking partnerships, a legal clarity from recent court decisions, and the quiet but measurable growth in on-chain activity. His view is simple. Markets eventually align with fundamentals. And if XRP's fundamentals are as strong as the data suggests, the gap between current price and fair value isn't just wide, it's unsustainable. For years, XRP holders have been told they're bag holding or waiting for a miracle, but this analyst flipped that script. He argued that the real miracle is how long the market has managed to ignore XRP's actual progress. When the correction comes, he says, it won't be gradual. It'll be a repricing event, the kind that catches most traders on the wrong side of the move. Ripple's CTO reveals how trust lines could transform global payments on XRPL. In a space obsessed with price charts and hype cycles, the real breakthroughs often happen quietly, deep in the tech. And this week, Ripple's CTO pulled back the curtain on one such breakthrough: trust lines on the XRP ledger. For those who don't live and breathe XRPL mechanics, trust lines are connections between accounts that define which currencies and assets can be held and transacted. But in the hands of institutions, they become something far more powerful, a way to instantly bridge value between trusted parties without the friction of legacy systems. The CTO explained that trust lines could allow banks, payment providers, and even governments to create and move tokenized assets, from fiat currencies to commodities, across the XRPL at lightning speed. No correspondent banks, no multi-day settlement, just instant, secure value transfer on a global scale. And here's the kicker. This isn't a someday feature. Trust lines already exist. What's coming next is their integration into large-scale payment flows. The kind that could run quietly for months before the public even realizes XRP is at the center of it. If that integration happens, the narrative around XRP shifts from digital asset to critical infrastructure. And when the market wakes up to that reality, the repricing could be explosive. XRP whales buy the dip. 120 million coins accumulated as Swift sparks bullish buzz. While headlines and speculation grab the spotlight, the smartest money in crypto tends to move in the shadows. And over the past week, blockchain trackers spotted something hard to ignore. XRP whales quietly scooping up 120 million coins during the recent price lull. That's not retail buying. That's deep capital taking advantage of a market distracted by other narratives. The timing is telling. The accumulation started just days after Swift's unexpectedly bullish remarks about Ripple, and while the price was still compressed in that 256-day range. When whales buy in size during periods of low volatility, it's rarely because they're chasing a quick flip. More often, it's because they see asymmetric upside, the kind of opportunity where a few cents today could turn into dollars tomorrow. The key point? Whales aren't waiting for confirmation. They're building positions before the news cycle catches up, before retail sentiment turns, and before liquidity dries up on the way up. So while most traders are still debating whether XRP's breakout is real, the biggest wallets in the ecosystem have already made their bet, and history shows they usually make it early. So here's where we stand. Ripple's CTO hinting at an institutional game changer. Swift showing unexpected signs of alignment. The CEO openly talking XRP ETF timelines. A 256-day price coil ready to snap. Analysts calling the asset undervalued. Trust lines poised to quietly rewire global payments. And whales, the ones who see the field before the rest of us, loading up 120 million XRP like they know what's coming. If history's any guide, these aren't random, disconnected events. They're signals. And when signals line up like this, the move that follows is rarely small, rarely slow, and never forgiving to those on the sidelines. If you believe in the fundamentals, now's the time to pay attention. Because when this rocket lights, hesitation won't save you a seat. Make sure you're subscribed with notifications on. We're tracking every development, every whale movement, and every headline that could be the spark. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Are we on the verge of a $10 to $15 breakout, or is this another head fake? Let's hear it from the XRP Army.